Hello and welcome to the Enspiral External Update, June 2021. I am your host and Enspiral Catalyst, Jorian. This series of videos is here not to talk about the big ideas around Enspiral, not to talk about the themes of the Better Work Together book and whatnot, but to talk about the day by day of Enspiral. What have we been talking about just this week? What is changing in our network? How do we go step by step? So if you're curious about Inspiro and you want a more like a on the ground idea of what we discuss, what we create, this is a good series for you. And this month is a very important month because we are about to launch our assembly sprint. Our assembly sprint, which is our biggest online event. It is a decision-making sprint. Not only for decision making, but for big projects that can use the collective intelligence of Inspiro. We save them for the assembly sprint. Is a moment of intense attention. We have an explanation on the assembly sprint, like a sort of a model for the assembly sprint on the Inspire handbook if you're interested, but we're tweaking it. This assembly sprint will be a bit different. Generally, we do 2 very intense weeks of people having calls and deciding things together. But now, based on the feedback we got for the previous assembly sprints, even though the feedback was mostly positive, there was one tweak we could do to sort of tackle many of the criticisms on the assembly sprint in one go. So we created a new model that is 1 week of intense calls and contact and all this synchronous energy, then 2 weeks of async work, people preparing documents, people writing articles, people drafting future decisions, and then again a final 1 week of more synchronous work, having calls and wrapping up all of this work that happened in the middle 2 weeks. So we're excited to try this, and if it works, we're going to update that assembly sprint the document that we have, that guide, and hey, maybe you can also run an assembly sprint to try to make big decisions and pull a lot of energy in your network. So look forward to that. Part of this work is the end game, is the grand finale of the renovating membership work that's been happening within Enspiral. And this is we have very few, just 2 really roles within Enspiral with different powers and different responsibilities. And in a way they're great, but in some other ways they're not so great. And now we've been through this process for over a year, I think 1.5 years, to rethink our membership, and it was tightly held and focused on the process and not to get to quick answers, but to hold it there and let it simmer. And now we're approaching the end of that. So who knows what's going to happen? There's a lot of proposals being thrown all around. Maybe Inspire will have new roles to present to you in a couple of months. One way or another, I think the process itself of taking the time and having long conversations and really honor people's opinions and discomforts and hopes for the future will definitely be something that we want to share with you in the next few months. Also, hey, Enspiral never before dabbed into this crypto and DeFi world. It's true that some individuals at Enspiral have done that, but not as a group. We are decentralized, but not in the blockchain sense of decentralized. We organize things in a more social, psychological way, decentralized. But now, hey, there's some energy here of people who are interested in also talking about cryptocurrencies and crypto technology in general. So you might see our experiments coming up in the next few months. That's a universe that interests you. Stick around. And lastly, the European segment of Inspiro, we're organizing a connection event, which is essentially an online gathering, but we didn't want to call it like that because the idea is that people should go away from their screens. There will be a lot of walks in the park where you're connected with somebody and you're having a conversation. We're trying to flip the concept of online gathering on its head because people can't stand screens anymore. So why not gather without the screens and try something different and be a little silly, be a little playful. So we're running that, and if it works, we'll definitely let you know. and show you some best practices. So those were the big updates. And now on the more like individual people sharing their work, what have they launched, what have they written, who was interviewed. We got Amble, which is Hailey Cookbreader's venture, Amble Studios. They just released Green Hollow, which is a game that free-to-play game that helps teams understand themselves better, both in an individual sense, but also the group understanding the group. If you've never checked Amble Studios' work, it is fascinating. It is so playful, and that's a great introduction to them since it's free to play. Limber just released this ebook about back pain. If you've been suffering from back pain, especially with this whole home office thing that's going on very strongly in the world right now, and you want to do something about it, here's the specialists' tips and tricks on how to deal with this. Yeah, and it's free. So Lisa Gill, as you probably know if you watch those videos, she has this amazing podcast called Leadermorphosis, but this time she is being interviewed by the Brave New Work podcast, all about her book, Moose Heads on the Table, that she co-written with Karen Tenelius. And the theme of this conversation is embracing discomfort. The conversation and the book, of course. It's just very interesting to see Lisa on the other side of the table. Of course, she's super comfortable with the podcast format, but it's just interesting because she's such a prominent topic in those videos. I love her podcast. Anyway, if you are a Kiwi, or even if you live in New Zealand with a visa, you can study at the Enspiral Dev Academy for free using the TTAF, which is this fund that New Zealand created to sort of reboost the economy after COVID-19. It's apparently not very bureaucratic, and it's just so cool that the Dev Academy folks managed to set this up. So if you are in New Zealand, if you are a citizen, or if you're living there, have a look, because the Dev Academy course is so beloved. I've talked to the students directly, and they were in awe with the style of learning that they were experiencing. So there's a chance to study this very relevant topic for free. Don't miss this opportunity. Again, links below. And talking about Dev Academy, here's an interview with Natalie and JV, who are going to have a baby, the most Enspirally baby of all, and stuff. Interviewed them about about this interesting and powerful decision to have a baby, and they had a process, and it's just very interesting. So if you're curious about decision making processes, less in a sort of worky or less in sort of a officey environment, but more in the individual, like a couple, you can't get more personal than that in decision making, unless it's your own individual decision. Anyway, you can give it a look. It's fascinating. Oops. And now for a moment of Zen. You didn't see anything. And now for a moment of Zen. Here's a really trippy video that Nansner, she posted in the Inspire Network. It's basically looking at the deep future of humanity, looking back at what humans used to be in different versions of museums. It's just fascinating. And a good way to finish this video here. Thank you for your attention, folks. All the links will be below, and I'll see you next month. Ciao, ciao.